Hi everybody, it's Maha here. Still in lockdown here in New South Wales. I think we are up to day 4 or 5. They said it would be 7 days, but I think it's going to be 2 weeks. Who knows? So I thought while I'm in lockdown, I have a beautiful world first award-winning book on belly dance for pregnancy and birth. And I thought that I might read to you from this award-winning book, Dance of the Womb. And this is a beautiful book that I actually published in 2008 and released, self-published. And it is a book all about my life story as well as the connection to my cultural roots, my Palestinian Lebanese roots, and my birthing journey. So I thought I would come on and share with you from my beautiful book, Dance of the Womb, and read to you from it. So for those who are joining, my beautiful book, Dance of the Womb, an award-winning world first book on belly dance for pregnancy and birth. And I've sold this book all over the world. It is in hard copy, but it is also as an ebook. And I've had to kind of piece a lot of my Palestinian side culture together after, all that happened to our family in 1948 being displaced, and for me coming to Australia just with my dad and my brother. And I arrived in Australia in 1964 as a 2-year-old. Yes, I'm 60 next year. And what a story it has been. So I dedicate the first chapter of my book, or the preface, to my grandmother, my Palestinian grandmother, Amina, who is very much alive in my heart and always has been. And she was my dad's mum, and she had 9 babies. And I want to read to you from her chapter that this book is dedicated to, Dance of the Womb. The Essential Guide to Belly Dance for Pregnancy and Birth. And it's also an intimate story of my life. So the first chapter, Amina, my grandmother and the Domes, a dedication. Amina, my grandmother, was Palestinian, 6 foot tall, a self-assured woman who possessed magnificent, capable hands and an unwavering strength of spirit that inspired the hearts of all those around her. She lived with her husband, my sweet, handsome grandfather, in a small village in Lida al-Ramle, Palestine. He helped construct the railway line, and she baked flatbread in a large indoor stone oven that had been built into the rustic family kitchen. Amina also kept a fertile family garden that boasted a fine array of plants and herbs: parsley, mint, oregano, spring onions, garlic, and peppers. All grew in wild abundance. A generous date tree dripping with fruits stood solid behind a stone wall. 3 times a week, a vendor rode into the neighborhood on a donkey, carrying 2 crates laden with a variety of fruits and vegetables. He would cry out in a shrill voice, "Faka wakudea," fruits and vegetables, and the village women would come out from their houses to choose the day's groceries. A serve-yourself mini market set on the street, a place to meet, a place to laugh, a place for women's business. An all-embracing environment enriched with the simple, self-sustaining pulse of life. Amina had 9 children, 5 girls and 4 boys. She breastfed each one of her children for a period of 2 years. My father was her 6th baby. When she reached full term in her pregnancies, my grandfather would take Amina and her children on a horse and cart to her in-laws' family house, and the jigging up and down over the stones and rough ground would help to bring her labor on. I love that. And this place, this family birthing house, was situated in a special place called the Domes in the village of Al-Kubab, between the town of Ramle and Jerusalem, Palestine. This house had witnessed many generations of births, and within its walls was held the wisdom and secrets of all women's birth experiences gone by. It was here that Amina entered my great-grandfather's family house to dance the rhythm of her birth with the assistance of a midwife, while the rest of the family waited in anticipation for the new arrival. After the birth of her baby, all the baby's siblings would gather around Amina, the central focus of their love, and admire their new arrival. Her husband would then take the whole family back to their village on his horse and cart, where Amina would rest for 40 days and nights, as is traditional in Middle Eastern culture. Her children would be cared for unconditionally by other family members, as well as by Amina's eldest daughters. She would be supported in the knowledge that her family were being looked after, which meant she could recover, be fed, cared for, and bond with her newborn in comfort, worry-free. The inner family circle of life, protecting and nurturing each of its members. Isn't that a beautiful story? I love that. My beautiful grandmother Amina. And then I go on to share a little bit about birthing traditions in the Palestinian culture. A traditional Palestinian custom for babies born with their membranes intact, or the caul, so the bag of water's not broken around the baby, was for the mother to hang the membranes in a sunny place to dry, and then she would sew a small leather triangular pouch to put them in. She would give this to her favourite person to bring them good fortune. My father's eldest sister gave him such a pouch to wear around his neck as a young man, and he was greatly honoured by this gift. The afterbirth, or the placenta, would then be buried under the first step at the entrance to the family house. So anyone walking over it would be touched by the purity and graciousness that is life. A renowned Egyptian mistress of ceremonies, a wise woman, resided in Amina's village. She represented a traditional ritual female leader and was responsible for performing a special ceremony with a newborn, which originated from the time of the pharaohs, called El Sabuh, meaning the seventh. As the name implies, this particular ritual was enacted on the seventh day of a baby's life. The numerical value of 7 carrying cosmological symbolism as a rite de passage initiation for the baby from the womb to the world. The belief is that after our birth, not just the afterbirth, but after our birth, we cross a threshold from having a neutral gender and status to a specific reference within the family hierarchy. This is a key component of the ceremony that gives us a sense of belonging. So we belong within a family, which is what all humans desire, and to do this in an initiation or a ceremonial process is a beautiful way of welcoming the newborn into the family life. And the mistress would take a large round chaff sieve called a mankal, used during the wheat harvest, and she would carefully place the baby in it. All the guests and the children would gather around with candles, peas, nuts, and sweets, as the old woman would bounce the baby up and down in the mankal, in the sieve, and she would chant and recite a poetic verse, sometimes with a cheeky sense of humour, and at other times a more serious tone. The symbolic tool used to separate the wheat from the chaff now becomes a metaphor for the family life, connection, belonging, to give the baby sound life advice with gestures of fun, play, or deeper messages relayed about significant family members, qualities that the baby should aspire to or even reject. You must listen to your mother. You must listen to your father. Don't listen to your uncle. Do listen to your auntie. Follow your cousin, for he is wise. Lord, O Lord, make him or her grow up and be like us. How I wish that I could have met my grandmother Amina and spoken to her of her beautiful Palestinian village, birthing experience, get very emotional, and her family traditions, to initiate a newborn child into its family of origin with pride and love, supporting its mothers with such unity and care. If only we could truly cradle our birthing mothers in this divinity, how different may some of our mothering experiences be today. To feel a genuine connection for all who came before and all who would come after us, that magical thread of life so deeply interwoven within our human spiritual understanding and experience. My feeling of gratitude is endless as I share with you all a part of recreating the symbol of the domes through the inspiration of Middle Eastern birth dance, oriental dance for birth, a fertile life force of my ancient culture. So if anyone has joined, I was reading, and I've been reading from my beautiful award-winning book and world first book, Dance of the Womb, all about how belly dance for birth, or oriental dance for birth, is such a beautiful modality for preparing for birth and also for using in childbirth, in actual labor, and how it inspired me in my 3 births with my 3 beautiful children, 2 born at home, the last at 46, and really drawing on my Palestinian roots. I am Palestinian Lebanese, but the very strong ancient Palestinian roots. And it is from this that I've created my beautiful embodied birth and belly dance birth program, which I've traveled the world for the last decade teaching in many countries, the last 3 in China, and now having to come online and share all of my wisdom. And if anyone's interested in joining, we are doing the next training in English online in October. So I'd love you to join us. And it's a certification program, so you become an embodied birth educator and you carry the wisdom forward. Yeah, so I would love to see you come on down. And it's very important that we keep alive these cultural roots, because this is part of our ancient lineage for many of us as women. And no one can take this from you. This lives in your heart, in your blood, in your spirit, in your veins. And I'm very proud of the culture that I come from. And I love to share from that place, as well as all the wisdom from my own births and my own work as a birth educator for the last 25 years. So yeah, if you're interested in my certification, it is in 2 parts, the online birth preparation program and the virtual training. So get in touch. And if you want to buy my book, you can buy it as a hard copy. So it's a very, very beautiful book, or as an ebook on my website, mahaalmusa.com, and you can read it there. But I am going to, each day this week, read a little bit from the book, because I love reading. I'm also a school teacher. So you can see I've always loved English literature, English storytelling, reading. And I just want to finish off with one poem that is in the book as well. And it is that our birthing energy, the force that supports our journey throughout the labor process, is strongly related to our sexual energy, that succulent force of creativity, inner power, and primal instinct. Often our conditioning separates the 2 energies, and although bound, we may forego their intimacy. The notion of belly dance is often perceived as an erotic sexual act, an external display that separates both the dancer and audience from source. Yet when we dance in pregnancy, we can internalize the movements and emotions of our sensual selves to connect to our wisdom and instinctual nature as women, preparing us to embrace our birthing experience with untold potency and earthly delights. I love that poem. And I love Khalil Gibran as well. I've got some of his poems in my book. And claiming and owning that birthing energy and that power that resides within you. And that's what embodied birth is about, bringing you home to that innate knowing, that strength, reassuring you. So more than ever today, we have to stand very strong as women in that place, and don't let anyone take that from you. And that is because we leave that legacy in the world. Our children are our future. We have to very much be intentional about this journey, this rite of passage that is birth and mothering and parenting. What is it that we are leaving on this planet? And women carry great strength to hold that anchor, to be grounded in the body. And that is why I teach the somatic work of belly dance birth, because it's when we dance and we move and we feel that we activate and access that wisdom. And that's what my work is all about. So yeah, come and join us in October for the virtual training, and I hope to see you again tomorrow to read another chapter from my beautiful book, Dance of the Womb. Lots of love, everybody, and as we say in Body Birth, Namaste. Have a great day. Bye.